Go ahead.
Okay, hi Mr. McLeod. This is our project, and it's a big project, so Hunter. Okay, the team members for the project as approved were me, Audubon, and Hunter. So what we're going to do is construct a working piano that we can play as you would a normal piano. Our budget was under $30, and we're going to split around $10 a piece, so it would be even and nobody would spend too much money. The materials we're going to have some wood. There's going to have to be thin wood so that we could make the piano, but it wouldn't be too heavy to transport because we have to get it in and out of the room every day. 18 and 24 gauge steel wire because that is the best for our piano to play the music on, so when the hammer would come up on it, that would make the best tune. And we need 2 different gauges because that would produce 2 different tunes, and we would cut it to make different tunes even. So we'd have to we were starting off with the idea that we'd have 88 keys, but that didn't really work out. So we'd also need a saw because the coping saws, we'll explain that later, didn't work out too well, so we need a larger saw that I brought in from home. And then we need screws and very small nails so that we could have precise nailing in the wood.
Oh, okay, so here's the timeline that we made together as a group. So we pretty much stuck to what our timeline was, but for some things we took a lot extra time, like making the frame. At first we thought that the frame would take just a few days, but it ended up taking most of the time that we had here, and then so we had a lot less time for the rest of the stuff.
Okay, so how the project changed. Our project has changed a ton over the past few weeks. So first, our project started off as the piano, as we explained before. So our project changed because of difficulties first. So the coping saw that I said earlier. The coping saw, when you cut down, if you want to cut in an angle or anything, it has the backing on it, and so it'll only go so far. And after you go to that predetermined distance, then you have to cut sideways to get that part off so you can cut in again. So that was a real hassle the first day, and so we decided to bring in a larger saw, and that worked well, and so that was good. But then also, things were a lot harder than we thought. So as Audubon explained earlier, the frame on the outside of the piano and the bass, we thought that was going to take a few days, just nail stuff in. We had a lot of problems. When we started to nail with the small nails, we went over and we went up through the wood, and so we had to take it out, and then we went down through the wood, and so there was just a little spot about as big as the head of the nail that we had to get it in, otherwise it would come above or below, and that took a really long time, and we didn't really have much time to do anything else, so that was a big change. And also, our piano, when we finally got to the last few days, we had 2 strings on, or maybe 1 even, and we knew that there was no way that we were going to be able to get 88 strings on, or even if we cut it in half, we couldn't even get 44 strings on to be able to make a full piano. So our project changed even more, and we changed the entire project to make guitar. So we would still have the string bass that we had, we still have the bass that we used, and we would be using the same process of tightening the strings. It would just be a lot faster because you don't need as many strings on the guitar as you obviously do on the piano. Next.
Okay, so here are some of our 4 major challenges. So definitely making the piano's bass. The piano had a ton of curves on it, and it was pretty hard to get the nails inside, as Harrison explained earlier.
Okay, and how we solved that problem is we decided that we could use more than nails, and so we used carpenter's glue that we had, and we used other pieces of wood if there were spaces so that it would go in, we wouldn't have to deal with the hassle as much.
And then getting the screws into the wood, placing them was pretty hard to get it into the right spot.
So how we handled that was we used a manual screwdriver instead of an electrical one, and the electrical one just seemed to start spinning off, and it was stripping the screw. It wasn't working at all, and so we got one from the janitors, and we screwed it in that way, and that worked a lot better. So that helped us.
And then getting the keys off the keyboard. So what happens, I brought in a keyboard, and we had to get the keys off the electrical keyboards we could attach to the piano frame, and it was pretty hard to unscrew everything and get them all off.
So how we solved that problem, we had to disassemble the entire keyboard, because first we were just pulling the keys off, but if we didn't do it the right way, they would break in half, and obviously we couldn't use that key, and so we decided that obviously wasn't the best way to do it. So we decided we had to take everything around it off, and then that would finally come out, and we could just grab them without any hassle, or without having to break them. And our last problem?
Okay, and our last problem was wrapping the strings. So what happened was when we wrapped the strings, some of the strings they couldn't handle being on the same plane at the same time, so it would be too tight and they would snap or break. So it was pretty hard to get all of the strings on there, especially with the time frame we had.
So how we solved that, we wrapped more slowly, and then we also, so that it didn't, we didn't like rush it and just come around and then would rip and then we'd have to get it again. We just took our time, we were precise, and then also we changed in the guitar because if we can't, if we're having trouble with the strings and we only have a few days, then we obviously need to have less strings, but we still couldn't do a piano with less strings, and we still had a lot more to do, so we changed it into this, which we could succeed in getting the strings to do something and to produce a tune, but it wouldn't be as difficult. Next.
Okay, our 4 major successes. First of all, one of our first major successes was cutting the grand piano shape for the wood. We had to cut all the curves in the piano shape, and that actually looked really nice.
The next one was creating precise side lengths for the bass. So that was before we started nailing them in. We measured out all the wood, and we labeled them. We labeled inside, outside, where they would go by number around the board, how we would nail them in, just everything. We had it all planned out really well, and our lengths, we never had to cut anything again. The lengths were all good. It was just the nailing that we had trouble with.
And then our third major success was the guitar shape, as you can see right here. We found a nice internet picture that shows a cool guitar shape, and we were able to cut it out successfully in actually 1 day.
And then our last success was wrapping and tightening the strings to produce a good sound on the guitar. So we had a lot of trouble on the piano, but then after we went to this guitar, it seemed to get easier. We wrapped it around more slowly, as we said earlier, and as we tightened it with the manual screwdriver that we got from the janitors, it tightened, and now it produces a good sound.
Here.
So each string produces a different sound, and it worked out well. So next. Okay, would we select this project again? We all talked about this, and we decided that we would definitely not select this project again. It was a fun project in the sense that it was like, we learned a lot about the piano and about the making, but it was way too hard for us to do.
Yeah, the guitar, we talked about it as well. The guitar would have been much more fun and much easier as well, because we would have been able to finish the guitar with working strings, maybe added a soundboard to make it amplify the sound, and we would have enough time to do all this because we did this in 2 days. So if we had the whole entire time, then we can make it look and sound really nice.
Okay, background information. As I said earlier, we definitely had a lot of background information about the piano. We researched a lot. I don't think that was the problem. It was just the difficulty of the project. We knew everything about how to make the piano. We pretty much knew it inside and out, everything there was to know. There was like all of us, not just one of us. And I think that helped us, and we have learned a lot, but it's just
the only thing is we underestimated the amount of time it would take to actually build a working piano.
So, okay, next. Okay, the documentation. I would rate our documentation as very good. Not quite great, but it is really close. We had a ton of detailed information. We explained everything we were doing, all the problems we went through every day. We told you and everybody else that's following documentation. We used the documentation reflection prompts, as you told us to. And you said that we really documented well. The only problem that we had was sizing of the pictures in the beginning. They would come out and they would be huge, and we didn't size them in fireworks. And so then after you told us that you wanted them to be sized, we took our time and we sized the pictures every day, and they came out well, and they fit the documentation. It was appropriate for the size and modal. And then I would rate the end of the documentation as great, but altogether I would say it was very good.
Most enjoyable part of this project was working with our friends, because we all had a great time when we were making it, so we would do lots of fun things. So it wasn't the part that we messed up or we didn't get to finish it, so just working together was pretty fun.
Next. Okay, and then this is a picture of us making our piano, and this is the original project, as we said. Here's when we finally finished our boards, and then from there we went on to the strings, and it didn't work out too well. And also, as Audubon said earlier, working with our friends was just fun. We became a lot better friends. I've been friends with Audubon. He's in all my classes. Hunter is in like one class, 2 maybe, And so we're really good friends, and we went through all of this, and we just became a lot better friends. So I think that it was a really fun project, and it came out well in the end, and we built this in 2 days. So I think that's it. And that was our demonstration, so we're good.